We have two speakers for today's session, Shri Ravi Tripathi ji, geologist, and Shri Prantik Santraji, the geologist. Now I will brief about Shri Ravi Tripathi ji. He did his bachelor's and master's degree in geology from Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi in 2012 and 2015, and worked as a junior research fellow at Micropaleontology and Oceanography Laboratory at BHU from July 2015 to April 2017. He joined GSA in 2018 after successful completion of 42nd OCG training and associated with various G4 stage exploration projects and geochemical mapping. From 2018 to 19, he engaged in geochemical mapping in parts of Western Dharwad Craton, and from 2019 to 20, he engaged in reconnaissance survey from platinum group of elements, nickel, gold, and Kalmangi layered ultramafic complex and Hunkund Kushtagi cyst belt. And from 2020 to 21, he engaged in geochemical mapping in parts of southern granulate terrain, and currently working in reconnaissance survey of cobalt, manganese, and associated polymetallic mineral district, Karnataka. Now I will brief about Prantik Santraji. He has done his bachelor's and master's from Jadavpur University, Kolkata in 2013, and subsequently joined as JRF, Jadavpur University there itself, and joined GSI in 2014 and associated with various STM projects, special systematic thematic mapping projects, and worked in national geochemical mapping around Rani Bennoru area from 2016, and also worked in systematic thematic mapping project at Bagalkot area to study the basement cover relationship of Galatki and Hunkund Kushtagi cyst belt in 2017 and 2018. From 2018-19, he worked at Kushal Nagar to establish tectonostratigraphy of southwest part of Western Dharwad Craton. Is in systematic thematic mapping at west extremity of Dharwad Craton at Merkara Shear Zone to establish tectonostratigraphy and as well as metamorphic history of the terrain. Now I cordially invite the speakers for the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Uh, just wait for 2 minutes. एक- Is my screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, 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 okay. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, okay.
Yes,
Thank you so
sir.
much. So, thank you, Gautami, for giving introduction about me. And first of all, a warm good morning to all the students, faculty members. So today I am going to present this small nutshell in terms the geology and stratigraphy of Western Tharwar Crater. Hello. Okay. So if we look the whole Earth geology, history of geology of Earth, it is divided into four era, major four era. That is Hadean, Archean, Proterozoic, and Precambrian and Phanerozoic. So our life start from some worker thought that our life started from the Middle Archean age. So, and it is fluid suppressed in multicellular part in the starting of Phanerozoic time period. So here we are here for the study of Archean terrains of Indian subcontinent. So basically, if you look the Precambrian history of our Earth, it is encompasses to 88% of Earth history. Our Earth's origin, it's 4.6 to 4 giga year. During that time period, the whole Earth is hot molten rock ball, which is cooled slowly and give the first impression of first rock type at the end of Hadean period. That is the starting point of Archean period. So Archean period is the period when the first rock form in our Earth. And the end of magmatism, Mesoplutonism at the mark the end of Archean period. So Archean period marked the starting point of our magmatism and hello and end of Archean period mark our closing of major magnetism and Plutonism. So Archean period divided into four eras, four eons, four eras. The Neo-Archean, that is 4 to 36 giga year ago. Then Paleoarchean, then Mesoarchean, then Neo-Archean. So our Dharwar crater is a beautiful rock setup which consists the rock type from Meso to Paleoarchean to Neo-Archean. That is 3500 million year ago to 2500 million year ago. During that time, the Archean time period characterized by Cyclic protocontinent, and this is a major unconformity, that is Archean and Petrozoic unconformity, which is marked by the Eparchaean unconformity. You can see this beautiful unconformity in Tirumala, Tirupati, the Ghat section. So just see, this is a beautiful picture which I picked from the Google Earth, Google Maps, Google Images. So here what happened, the moon and earth formation time is same. The same time they form. The timing, the origin of formation of earth and moon is same. But if you look at the moon, we find the round crater surfaces. But in earth, we can't get. Can you tell anyone that what is the probable reason behind this? Why we get the big crater on the moon, but not in our Earth, Mother Earth? Why? Can anybody tell? Hello? Okay. So the probable reason behind this is the plate tectonics. The plate tectonics processes occur in our Earth, whereas the Earth and the rest of planet, which has the big crater surfaces, the rounding surfaces, it is a plate tectonic dead planet. There is no plate tectonics in these planets, whereas in these satellites, in these planets, whereas the plate tectonics occur only in our Earth. That's make our Earth is a unique planet. So what is the oldest rock in our Earth? So as we have shown the earliest picture, there is a one zircon grains from metamorphosed sedimentary rock. They mark the 44 million year old age rock discovered in Jack Hill in Western Australia. Earlier people thought that the oldest rock is Starknice from Nook region, Greenland. But nowadays, the scenario has been changed after getting the first zircon age from metamorphosed sedimentary rock. Very recently, a magmatic zircon grain from Champua in Odisha Keonjhar district, it marked be dated to be 40 million year ago age. So before I start the main part, I would like to discuss some terminology, very important terminology, which is very useful to understand the geology of Archenteran. The first one is crater. So craton is a basically tectonically stable part of the earth, which is tectonically stable for prolonged period. There is no seismicity, no tectonism, no magnetism, no mobility. Right now, they are tectonically stable. And these cratons are surrounded by the mobile belts, especially the Proterozoic mobile belts. Nowadays, we have a lot of mobile belts, like in Himalaya mobile belts, Andes mobile belts, Alps mobile belt, Andaman Nicobar mobile belt, where we can get the tectonism, where we can get the seismicity, where we can get the magnetism, like Barren Island, active volcanism in Andaman region. These are mobile belts. But what is the difference between these Proterozoic mobile belts and these younger mobile belts? The difference is that these are once in time, these are active, but now it is dead. So craton portion are surrounded by the dead mobile belt. And by amalgamation of craton and mobile belts, then our shield is come. Shield terminology is come. So craton is tectonically stable part, which is surrounded by mobile belt, which is once upon a time was active, but now it is dead. That is known as Proterozoic mobile belt. And craton and mobile belt consist to form the shield. So our peninsular shield, our peninsular India is a peninsular shield of India, which consists of 5 craton: the Dharwar craton, the Bastar craton, the Singhbhum craton, Bundelkhand craton, and Aravalli craton. These are the oldest craton of our earth. Among these, the Dharwar, the Singhbhum are the oldest one. And these cratons are surrounded by the different mobile belts. Like, for example, in Dharwad crater, in the southern part, we have southern granulite terrains. In the eastern part, we have Eastern Ghat mobile belts. So these are the peninsular Indian Shield, which consists of different craton parts and surrounded by the mobile belts. And each mobile belts, each cratons form a different geodynamic setting. We can't say that this is part of major crust, but these are the amalgamation. Whatever we are see today, it is amalgamation of geodynamic history of different time period. And these are the locales of important mineral resources. For example, we get the Hatti Kolar gold mines in the eastern Dharwad crater. This is important locale for gold-bearing schist belt. But so these are the general picture of cratonic nuclei and which is surrounded by the mobile belts. We can see the oldest one, the cratonic nuclei is the Western Dharwad crater. Another one is Singhbhum, Buster. These are the cratonic nuclei where the cratonization process started, where from this location, cratonization process means crystal formation process has the start. So these are the different principal tectonic blend, how they are amalgamated, how they are formed in different geological setting. In this, the Western Dharwad craton is the one of the oldest Dharwad cratonic nuclei. It is also known as cratonic nuclei. So what is a greenstone belt? So basically, greenstone belt is a submarine volcano-sedimentary succession, which is composed of komatitic rock, basaltic rock, and intermediate to felsic volcanic rocks. If we see whole the successions, we find that the komatitic basaltic composition get decreased as we move toward the top of the succession, and the felsic volcanism and volcanoclastic sediments get increases. The probable reason behind this is the geodynamic setting, change in composition of the earth, change in geothermal heat of the earth, which causes change in composition, change in geodynamic setting. The probable reason behind this is the cooling of earth, geothermal gradients of changing of geothermal gradients of the earth. So what kind of sediments present in greenstone belts? So basically, there are four types of sediments. One is terrigenous sediments, which is derived from land. The another one is volcanoclastic sediment, which is derived from volcanism. The chemical sediments, which is derived from chemical precipitation. For example, calcite compensation depth, CCD, below which we can get the calcitic composition of minerals, but above which we get the siliceous precipitation of minerals. So similarly, biochemical, there are some blue-green algae, there are some radio fossils, there's some biological activity which causes the precipitation of biochemical minerals. So basically, so whatever that we are studied today, it is not a rocket science. It is not a single day observation. It takes centuries. There are several pioneer work since the British East India Company. Since the starting of British India's company, there are few pioneer workers like Captain Newbold Christie, who provided Traverses Note of Geology, a part of Karnataka, then followed by Robert Bruce, based in classification of schistose rock and the granitoid rocks. And the lacuna of Robert Bruce, they considered the Clospet granite were considered as basement rock. Even the Clospet granite were considered as the basement rock. Then subsequently, William Smith said there are, based on the observation he proposed, there are two types of schist belt. One is the older one, another one is younger one. Based on in which one the gneisses were intrusive, and the other one, the gneisses from the basement. Followed by P. Sampath Iyengar. He is a pupil of W.S. Smith, and he has produced the geological map of Chitradurga, Baba Budhan, Holenarsipur, and Nugi Hilli area. Then P. Rambanao. He upholding the concept that there are few members of Dharwar section which are sedimentary origin. So these are few workers of our Dharwar workers, in such a terrain, because at that time there is no pakka road, no metallic road, because the area, most of the area is covered by the dense forest, and this is not a single day job. This is a observations which take a century. Okay, so next our main topic is Dharwar Craton. So Dharwar Craton in the northern part, it is concealed under the Deccan Trap and Meso to Neo-Proterozoic basins like Kaladagi, Bhima. In the eastern part, it is surrounded by the Eastern Ghat mobile belt. The southern part, it is surrounded by the southern granulite terrain, and in the western part, it is surrounded by the passive continental margin of Arabian Sea. So the beauty of this picture is that here he see whatever rock is here, it is green facies rock. But whatever rock is here, it is amphibolite facies of rock here. And here, what we get, facies of rock. So right from green schist, amphibolite, and then then granulite facies of rock. So what is the probable reason behind this? Why the rock of green schist facies, low grade facies rock is converted, how it is possible to green schist facies of rock is converted into granulite facies of rock? So worker has studied the geobarometry of this location and this location, and they told that at this location the rock geobarometry is 3 kilobar, and the here is 8 to 9 kilobar. So what is the probable reason behind this? The probable reason behind this is it is a oblique section middle to lower crust. Please remind. It is an oblique section middle to lower crust. This is a middle crust and this is a lower crust. Because during the 2-degree northward tilt, 2 or 3-degree northward tilt, the older rod get exposed here, and which due to differential erosion, the southern portion of this older rock, the deep crustal rock, exposed here. That is why we get the younger age rock here, younger metamorphic rock here, and the older metamorphic rock here, older higher grade rock here. The second point is the crustal scale deep shear zone. So what is the importance of these deep crustal shear zones? Because these deep crustal shear zone mark the boundary between the earlier tectonic block amalgamations. They mark the amalgamation boundary. For example, the Chitradurga shear zone boundary in between the eastern Dharwar Craton and western Dharwar Craton mark the boundary between the Dharwar and, for example, the second one is Moyar Bhavani, Athur shear zone. Then Palaghat Kaveri shear zone. Then Achankovil shear zone. What this signify? These signify that these are the paleo-suture lines along which these different part of blocks suture to each other and form a Dharwar Craton. The most important thing is that here the rock of amphibolite facies and here is the granulite facies. So there is some line according to Fermat, it is a Fermat line, but it is a zone line, nothing but line. It is a zone. It is a transition zone where we can get the incipient cyanocite, the OPS bearing granotide in felsic gneiss. So this is a small brief introduction about the Dharwar Craton. It is the largest platonic nuclei which comprise of granices, potassic granite, and greenstone belt succession. This Dharwar Cation is divided into WDC, Western Dharwar Cation, EDC, Eastern Dharwar Cation, based on the greenstone succession, crustal thickness, and metamorphic history. So, in Western Dharwar Cation, the oldest rock is Peninsular Gneiss. That is the oldest crust formation. The Peninsular Gneiss is the oldest one is Gorur Gneiss. You can get the Gorur Gneiss near the Hole Narsipur in southwestern part of Katia. There is a lot of PG's quarries are there. You can go there and see the oldest rock of the earth, that is Gorur Gneiss. Then these gneissic rocks are associated with two types of system. One is the older system, another one is a younger system. The older one is the Paleo to Meso-Archean system, that is Sargur group, and the younger one is Neo-Archean to Greenstone facies belt, that is Dharwar supergroup. And their age of formation of is for Sargur group it is 3.3 to 3.1 giga year, but for the Dharwar supergroup it is 3 to 2.6 giga year. Basically, if we see the overall metamorphism in Western Dharwar Cation, it is a low temperature metamorphic terrain. Okay. Then there is a younger granites intruded during the 2.6 to 2.56 or 3 giga year ago within these Dharwar Cations rock. Then the PGC Sargur rock act as a basement for the younger cyst belt in Dharwar supergroup, which is divided into two groups. The one is the older one, which is known as Baba Buddhal group, and the another one is a younger one, which is known as Chittadurga group. The Baba Buddhal group is consist of sedimentary facies of rock with interbedded association with the metabasalts, that is amygdala metabasalt and gabbroic rock. Whereas the Durga group of rock, which is basically consists of volcano sedimentary succession. The majority is sedimentary rock with interbedded volcanic rock, pyroclastic rock, epiclastic rock. So these are the brief description of Dharwar supergroup. Then come to Eastern Dharwar Cation. So based on the petrology, geochronology, and isotopic data which separate the shear zone, the Eastern Dharwar Cation is divided into two parts. One is Central Dharwar province and another one is Eastern Dharwar province. In Eastern Dharwar province, it comprises of TTGs, tonalite, tronjamite, granodiorite rock, then sonictite and calcalcanite granite to potassic rich anatactic biotite granite. Whereas the Central Dharwar province, which lie in between boundary Chittadurga shear zone, the western side, and the eastern side is Anandpura shear zone, which is near to Kolar greenstone belt. And this is marked the boundary of Central Dharwar province. So Western Dharwar Cation, then Central Dharwar province, then Eastern Dharwar province. These three blocks amalgamated during the 2.5 giga year ago. And during this synchronization, this is the amalgamation of these three blocks. There is a synchronously emplacement of clustered granite batholith in Dharwar province. And it is considered that whatever we get today, the cluster granite, north, south to north, northwest, south, southeast, trending 400-kilometer belt, it is formed during the process of amalgamation of Eastern Dharwar Cation and Western Dharwar Cation. And whatever we see today, it's an oblique crustal section. So here about the transition zone, which is marked the boundary between the amphibolite facies of rock and granulite facies of rock. So it is thought that during the transition zones formed during the 2500 billion year ago, because there is some magmatic chambers which contains the carbon dioxide volatiles. because if we look the composition of the gneissic rock, it is hornblende, biotite, and amphiboles. These are the few hydrated minerals. So what happened during that time, during the amalgamation time, the magma underplating, the volatile from these magma underplate magmas chambers, these CO2 is get evaporated, and what they cause is, what they cause just knock out the water molecule of these hydrated minerals, and these mineral after these mineral get dehydrated, and which cause the formation of dehydrated rock, that is charnocite, that is OPS bearing charnocite. So this is a simplified precambrian stratigraphy of Dharwar Keton. So if you see the western Dharwar Keton, the oldest one is Garud gneiss, then older supercrustal rock, Sargur group, which is uncomfortably overlie over the Dharwar supergroup. Then Dharwar supergroup are marked by the again major plutonism, the younger granites. The younger granites again uncomfortably overlie by the neo to mesoproterozoic suits of rock. Then similarly, in case of Eastern Dharwar Keton, it is little bit younger than the Dharwar Keton. It is formed during the 2.7 to 2.5 giga year ago. It is consist of the TTG gneiss, granite, and kolar group, which is equivalent to the Dharwar supergroup. Yes, we also get the some remnant of supracrustal group of rock in Eastern Dharwar Keton, and followed by the younger to Meso to Neo-Proterozoic, Kadapa basins, Karnool, Bhima, all these things. So what is the basic difference between the Western Dharwar Keton and Eastern Dharwar Keton? The first thing is that age of granitites. So basically, in Western Dharwar Keton, the age of granitites is 2.9 to 3.1 giga year ago, whereas in Eastern Dharwar Keton, 2.5 to 2.7 giga year ago. We have heard about the Dharwar batholith. So Dharwar batholith belongs to 2.5 to 27.7 giga year ago. Then granitoids. The granitoids are tonalitic in nature in WDC, and granites are in EDC, it is calcalcline variety. We can see the basement cover relationship in Western Dharwar Keton beautifully in western part of the Chitradurga shear belt, where we can see how the PGC rock, how the Dharwar supergroup of rock are overlie over the PGC rock. The beautiful unconformity, quartz paper see between the Dharwar supergroup of rock and older rocks. But this kind of bonding we can't see in Eastern Dharwar Craton because of highly reworking, highly remobilization of older rock like TTG rocks. The crustal thickness is more in Western Dharwar Craton, but the crustal thickness is less in Eastern Dharwar Craton. So the Western Dharwar Craton is basically a volcano sedimentary stem ridges with younger granites. But in EDC, it is Dharwar batholith granite with intervening system. The important thing is that presence of sonic toy. This is a pyroxene bearing granite, which is most common in Eastern Dharwar Keton than the Western Dharwar Keton. So you can see the probable change in geodynamic setting, probable change in composition of Earth, probable geothermal heats, change in geothermal heat of the Western Dharwar Keton and Eastern Dharwar Keton. So this is a broad stratigraphy of Western Dharwar Keton. The older one is Garud gneiss, in which the Sargur group of rock occur as an enclave, followed by the younger PGC rocks, which is reworked, remobilized of TTG gneisses, followed by the Dharwar supergroup of rock, which consists of two groups, Baba Budhan group, then Chitradurga group. And these are again intruded by the major plutonism, that is the Chitradurga, that is the younger granite plutonism, that is 2.5 giga year ago. So this is the basic of some PGC rock, of older rock, which is TDG's compositions, composed containing amphibolite rock, which is high in silica, low alumina trondhjemite. So this is a photographs of Guru Gneiss, Jesipura area. This is the older gneissic rocks. You can see the bands of mineral compositions. Then greenstone belts. So greenstone belts, as we told earlier, that there's two type of greenstone belt. One is the older greenstone belts, another one is the younger greenstone belts. The older greenstone belts are older supracrustal belts. The younger greenstone belts are Dharwad supergroup of belt. So here, based on the locations, based on the compositions, these greenstone belts are divided. Like in western Dharwad Catons, greenstone belt like Shimoga, Chittadurga. Then in transition zone, Sandur System belt. Then in eastern Dharwad Catal, Hungun Kustigi System belt, Ramagiri Penkachella System belt, Velugalu Raichur System belt. Then in transition zone is Nellore Kamam System belt. You can see the shape of this Nellore system belt. And think about this, how does all this cyst belt shape is north west to north south, but here the cyst belt shape is something different. It is north northeast to south southwest. So based on the gold occurrence, based on the age, there are three types of major cyst belt. One is the ancient supracrustal enclaves, that is Sargur type. Another one is gold beading cyst belt, that is mainly present in the eastern Dharwad Caton. Then the Dharwad type of belt, which is rich in volcano sedimentary lithology. So this is the older supracrustal beds example. Basically, the Sargur group of rock is comprised of quartzite, pillite, carbonate, BIF, and associated with interbedded with amphibolite, which is intruded by the later ultramafic complex. You can get the beautiful komatiatic rock, which is characterized by the presence of spinifex texture. So these are the ultramafic complexes which are in younger system as well as the older system. So based on their intrusion, based on their occurrences, these are divided into two major types. One is the Sargur type, in which the older supracrustal belt, in which these ultramafic complexes intruded. One is Sindhu Halli, here Sindhu Nugi Halli. We can see that. Then in Dharwad type, the younger cyst belt. Here, the Hanmalpula area, it is a western part of the Chitradurga district, Hanmalpura area. Then Chavrakera and Moti Makki and Usgaon and Turuvandur system. So these are the intrusive belt, intrusive ultramafic belts. So why these are very important? Because these rocks are host of platinum group of element, sometimes gold mineralizations, then chromite, nickel, and magnetite. That is why these ultramafic complexes within these cyst belt are very important. Then Ghati Hosalli cyst belt. Here we can get the spinifex texture. It is the first time in India, it is a location where the first time spinifex texture is recorded. It represented the ultramafic complex, whatever present here, it is totally altered, and it is changed into altered as well as metamorphosed, and its composition is changed into actinolite tar carbonate rock and tremolite actinolite chloride cyst. Basically, it is consists of foot-sized quartzite and bedded barite, and bedded barite is indicative of volcanic exhalative. So these are the some structures in the older supracrustal like Ghati Hosalli cyst belt. Here you can see the recumbent fold, then here overturned fold. So different kind. These are actually quartzite body. These are the microfabrics. See the seeding. See the deformation level. These all are the ultramalonitized. All rocks are ultramalonitized. These are the mica frieze structure. There is a subgrain formation, subgrain rotation by deforming of precrystal of quartz. So see the level of deformation in the Ghati Hosalli cyst belt. Then the belts of Eastern Dharwad Caton, like Hungun Kustagi, Ramagiri Pachella cyst belt, then Veligalu, then Nellore. These are the names of cyst well which is occur in eastern Dharwad crater. Then Dharwad supergroup of rock. So basically, Dharwad supergroup of rock is best exposed. The whole succession is best exposed in the Chitradurga area. If you can take the traverse from western to eastern part, you can get the eastern part, which transects oblique to the Chitradurga system. You can get the older PGC rock, which is associated with enclaves of supercrust, followed by Nellakatte conglomerate, which is a stable conglomerate. It's a kind of oligomeric conglomerate. Then a group of rock, which is associated with sediment metasedimentary, as well as the meta basaltic rock, followed by another unconformity, then Dharwad supergroup of rock, then Chitradurga group of rock, and followed by the shear zone boundary, eastern boundary shear zone, and the pink to pink granite of younger granitic intrusion, younger plutonicism of 2500 gigayear. So this is a rock of Dharwad supergroup in Chitradurga area. The basement rock is peninsular gneiss, in which the Sargur cyst belt, the older supracrustal belts, occur as an enclave, which is followed by the conglomerate that is marked the unconfirmed and sometimes associated with mineralization. Again, all in by the Baba Budhan group of rock. It is rich in metavolcanics and associated with metasedimentary rocks. Then again, the polymetric Talia conglomerate, which is again a oligometric conglomerate. Then it is followed by the Vanivilas formations, Ingalhal formation, and Heliud formation of Chitradurga group of rock. So first is a Nellakatte conglomerate. So first thing is that it is a conglomeratic horizon. Second thing, it marks the unconformity. Now, what kind of conglomerate? It is a oligometric conglomerate. Basically, it is a oligometric conglomerate in which major clasts are derived from PGC rock, are quartzite, quartz arenitic composition. This is well exposed in western part of Chitradurga cyst belt. You can see the deformed Nellakatte conglomerate, deformed. Here best you can see the different SC fabrics, then big class which is aligned in a particular directions. So next is these Nellakatte conglomerate mark the basement of Baba Budhan group. And basically Baba Budhan group are consist of two facies association. The lower one is conglomerate sandstone facies, followed by the sandstone mudstone facies. Within these, in between these two faces of rock, schistose amphibolite, that is actually this is a amygdular basalt which is later metamorphosed into the schistose amphibolite. Then at the top side, it is intruded by the meta-alpha mafics and meta-gabbro as conformable intrusive and tectonically placed bodies. So based on the mineral composition in amygdular basalt, it indicates that the rock type of Baba Budhan group belongs to lower amphibolite facies metamorphism. So these are the few rocks of Baba Budhan group. This is a quartzite where you can get the trough set cross bedding. Here also you can get the cross bedding. So these cross bedding are tell us that these rock form in shallow marine condition because these are presently sedimentary rock, metasedimentary rock, and these indicate that these rock are formed in shallow marine condition. So during the Baba Budhan group of during precipitation, during the deposition of rocks of Baba Budhan group, the first condition is a shallow marine condition, followed by deepening of basin. Then Talia conglomerate. So Talia conglomerate is a boundary between the Baba Budhan group and the Chitradurga group of rock. It is a kind of polymit conglomerate because in this case, the class are derived from older PGC rock as well as the Baba Budhan group of rock. It is a matrix supported conglomerate because in this case, the matrix consultation is more and consists mainly of pebbles and boulders of granite, quartzite, vein quartz with amount of BIF. Sometimes BIF boulder is big. Earlier workers they thought that the deposition, the formation of this conglomerate is a fault control debris flow setting. During the faulting, it formed by slumping of debris along the fault. This is some pictures of deformed Talia conglomerate. Here you can see the level of deformation, rotation of clast, or even the foliations around the clast. These are the Talia conglomerates. This is a highly deformed Talia conglomerate. Fabric, also see the SC fabric in this case. Then rock of Chitradurga group of rock. The first one is Vani Vilas formation. It is just above the Talia conglomerate. The Vali Vilas formation group of rock is rich in metasedimentary rock, metasedimentary association. That is quartzite, carbonate, magniferous phyllite, which indicate the metasedimentary association, and BIF also is there, which minor basaltic volcanism. That during the deposition of Vani-Vilas formations, again it indicates that the basin is shallow. The rock of Vani-Vilas formation were deposited over highly uneven erosional surface of the basement gneiss, as evident from the deposition of rock of Vani-Vilas formation in the Sirankatte area. Then rock of Ingeldhal formation. This rock is rich in volcanic rocks, volcanic drive pyroclastic rock, volcanic drive epiclastic rock, like agglomerate, volcanic breccia, Lapli tuff, different kind of metabasalt is there, pilloid metabasalt, massive metabasalt, and this, and sometimes we can get also the manganese and iron band within the tufaceous rock. So these are the chemically precipitated band within the volcanic tuff. Then Hiryut formations. It is the last one formation at the top of the Chitradurga group of rock, which indicate the thick sedimentary pile interspersed with minor volcanics. Basically, it is a Grevake argillite suite of rock, which contains several interband of polymit conglomerate and BIF intercalation. They are associated with volcanics and pyroclastic rock. The polymit KM-Kere conglomerate, which mark the boundary between the Ingathal formation and Hiryut formations. So this is the section which I taken from the famous paper of Chitradurga group of rock and its new stratigraphic classification from Abhinav Rai 2019. This is a whole succession of Chitradurga cyst belt from west to east. It transects the oblique to the perpendicular oblique to the Chitradurga cyst belt. In the western part, we can get the PGC rock are associated with the supracrustal rock. The supracrustal rock occur as an enclave, tectonic slice within the PGC rock. Then this basement followed by the Nellakatte conglomerate. This is a kind of oligomit conglomerate. Then followed by of rock of Baba Buddha group, which is rich in metavolcanism associated metasedimentary rock. Then again fault bounded debris flow Talia conglomerate, which is a polymit conglomerate. Then again the rock of Vani Vilas formations, which is rich in metasedimentaries, argillites, quartzite, arenites. Then Ingeldhal formation. And these Ingeldhal formation are rich in volcanic rocks, basaltic rock, tufaceous rock, pyroclastic rocks. Then again, this is marked by the unconformably to Hiryut formation. And Hiryut formation rock are rich in metasediments which associated finer interspersed pillow basalt. So these are the overall succession of Chitradurga group of rock. And if we move towards further east, we can get the younger Chitradurga granite. So here are some beautiful pictures from Chitradurga in and around Chitradurga area. You can enjoy it. So here the pillow metabasalt of Ingalthal formations. You can see the pillows, the massive metabasalt of Ingalthal formation, the agglomerate rock of Ingalthal formations. These are the some, all are the volcanic rocks. The metarolites and felsic volcanism. You can see the vesicles, which is formed during the emplacement of these rhyolitic rock, and still now they are preserved. So you can see the vesicles. So these are the metarolite rocks. These are the Gravache rocks, which is formed during the tributary currents in Hiryud formation. This is a KMK conglomerate, which mark the boundary between the Hiryud formation and Ingalthal formation. See how the level of deformation. This is highly deformed rock. This is a matrix-rich rock. Here we can see the clast, which is elongated along the matrix. This is volcanic tuff of Ingalthal formation. This is BIF in Ingalthal formation. Here there are some few bands of manganese and iron within the volcanic tuff of Ingalthal formation, which is chemically precipitated. Manganese and iron band here is a chemically precipitated. This is a volcanic breccia. You can see the angular clast of various size. These are the, so how for determination of the structure in a particular rock type, what is the marker horizon to which we can interpret the structure features? So banded atom formation is the rock which is known as the skeleton of the rock, which is used to mark the different level of deformation. So here we can see the F1 folding. It is a tight folding and basically vertical fold. It is plunging downward. It is a vertical fold. Here we can see the M-type fold. Here also the plunging vertical folds. So these are the BIF rocks, which is used to study the structure of a particular lithology, particular basins. These are the, so sometimes we can get the superimposed folding. Here the rock is highly tightly fold, isoclinally fold, but there is some later stage fold, which again reorient these older fault. Here also, here the folding first type of folding is this way, the another one is this way. So again it refold. Here we can get the plunge fold. So these are the different type of superimposed folding. These are the I-shaped fold. This is a kind of non-cylindrical planar fold. Then Chitradurga younger granites. Till now we discussed that how PGC occur within PGC, how schistose older supracrustal rocks occur, and how older supracrustal and PG associated to form the basement of Dharwad supergroup, and how Dharwad supergroup of rock PG varies. Then these are intruded by the major plutonism, the Chitradurga younger granites. So these are the younger granites of Chitradurga, like Chitradurga granite, Medikeripura granite, Post Durga granite, Bukkapatna granite. You can see the shearing. You can see the shearing in these granites. These are basically, for example, the Bukkapatna granite. It is exposed in between the Chitradurga cyst belt in the west and Javanahalli cyst belt in the east. It extend north of Andiseri, Anesidri to south of Hegavaldi over the distance of 60 kilometers. It is a medium to coarse grained, consists of quartz, microclean perthite. Have you know the, do you know the perthite texture? Perthite, antiperthite. Within the plagioclase, we can get the blebs of microclean. So these are the mineral composition: plagioclase, biotite, hornblende, epidote, magnetite. These are the minerals which is formed in these Buccapanna granite, and these sometimes these are highly mineralized. Let us see. These are the deformed polyporphyritic Buccapatam granite. Here you can see the big cluster of plagioclase. Sometimes you can appreciate the juning also. And around these crystals, there is a swelling of the fine grained matrix material, which is get sheared, which is get deformed and foliated. So these are the Buccapatam granites, which is highly deformed due to later cystosity, due to later shearing. You can see the SC fabric here, C to C dash fabric here. The level of shearing, it indicates the level of shearing. So at the last, we come to the conclusion about the summary. So basically, the peninsular India shield is consists of 5 major craters: the Dharwar, Bastar, Singhbhum, Bundelkhand, Aravalli. The Dharwan and Singhbhum is the one of the oldest one in our Indian peninsula. The Dharwar supergroup of rock is further divided into two parts: the Western Dharwar Craton and Eastern Dharwar Craton, based on the Chitragurga Eastern Boundary Shear Zone. It is a highly malonitized zone which is vertically dipped toward the east. The Western Dharwar Canton consists of several big size of cyst bed like Sargur cyst, like Chitragurga cyst belt, Dharwar cyst belt, Shimoga cyst belt, and it also consists some older cyst belt. The grade of metamorphism from top of the Dharwar Craton is low, whereas as we move down towards the Dharwar Craton, the grade is getting high up to the amphibolite facies. But further south, it goes up to the granulite facies of rock. So further, the older supercluster group of rock, it consists of metapelagic sediments as well as the meta-ultimaphites. We can get the komatiatic rock in Sargur group of rock by seeing the typical indication, that is spinifex texture, which is nothing but a quench olivine crystal, sudden quench olivine crystal. Then we can easily see the basement curval relationship in Western Dharwar Craton. The older basement rock, the PGC and associated cyst belt, older supracrustal belt, mark the basement of Dharwar supergroup of rock. Then further, Dharwar supergroup of rock is divided into two groups. The lower one is the Baba Budan group, the upper one is Chitragurga group. The Baba Budan group is rock or is rich in sediments, meta sediments, and rich in metavolcanics and associated with the meta sediments like meta amidulate metabasalt, gabbroic rock, and meta-ultimaphites. Then this Baba Budan group of rock is overlain by the Chitragurga group of rock, which is basically further divided into three formations. The lower one is Vani Vilas formation, the upper one is the middle one is the Ingaldhal, then the top one is the Hiriur formation. The Vani Vilas formation is rich in meta sediments rock associated with minor volcanism, volcanic rock. Then Ingaldhal, which is metavolcanic rock. Then followed by the Hiriur formation rock, which is again rich in the meta sediments with associated some bands of interspersed bands of basaltic rock. And these are the horizon, which is very important for so thank you for being a wonderful audience. This is the end of session. I hope you will get benefit to this important brief lecture. Okay. So any doubts you people have, kindly tell me. Hello. Hello.
Thank you.